listening to The Gender Rebels.
I'm Kathleen, a cis woman and ally.
And I'm Faith, a trans woman.
Gender Rebels is a question and answer podcast that explores life outside the gender binary.
A big thanks to our Patreon supporters.
If you'd like to support the show, go to patreon.com/genderrebels. Hey everyone, I'm Kath.
And I'm Faith.
Hey Faith, we have a listener question.
Oh, that's awesome. We love listener questions.
Yeah, this question came from Devin. Devin writes, "Hey there, I am FTM transgender and I've been taking testosterone for about 7 months. Awesome, Devin. Because of this, when I go out in public, I usually get read as male. This year, I'm attending a new school, while I have the option to be stealth. All of my records have my name and gender marker corrected, so in theory, no one has to know that I was assigned female at birth. However, being trans is something that has shaped me into the person that I am now. I've become so filled with pride for my identity that it feels weird to suddenly hide that part of myself. Also, while I love the idea of living my life as an ordinary cisgender boy, I know that kids at school will probably find out. My social media has trans written all over it. And there's a potential for negative reactions. My question is, how does one balance their wishes to be stealth with their desires to embrace who they are and their fears of people finding out and having negative reactions?" Sorry if that was confusing. Devin, not confusing at all.
Thank you for the question, Devin.
Super good question.
That's a great question.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. This is something that, as a trans person, I have debated for ages.
Yeah.
Because when I initially imagined myself transitioning, I liked the idea of being stealth, you know? Just you can just disappear and no one, you never have to talk about your assigned birth gender. No one will ever know you as that. I don't think stealth was in the cards for me.
But I understand the appeal.
Being my height and build, I don't think I could really pass
imagine,
that well.
Just everything's fixed.
Yeah.
Just a girl. Just a guy.
This is
what I am. This is who I've always been as far as everyone knows. And that's it.
Yeah, that's awesome. And, you know, that's the goal for many of us.
Sure.
is that we would want that. Just the idea that, like, I'm kind of officially 100% free from this dysphoria. I'm not even in a situation where I'm trans. I'm in a situation where I'm just who I've always wanted to be.
And no one thinks about my genitals except me, my partner, and my doctor.
Exactly. So I can see why that's such a great ideal.
Yeah.
I realized kind of when I was transitioning, and this was after I had started my transition, still in process. I don't know if it'll ever end. I don't know when it ends, but I just remember coming out at work and like coming out to family members, and that took so much courage. And actually a lot of planning. I even had like a written plan for work. If you visit my website, faithbrook.com, and then there's like a how-to guide for coming out at work. And I do recommend a written plan. Yeah, I just felt like I had taken so much courage. I was like, I'm kind of proud of this. This is an accomplishment.
Yes.
This isn't something I feel I want to hide. I want to be proud of this. I want to be like, oh my God, look at me. I actually managed to do this transition. Something I was so terrified of, you know, or I had so much anxiety about or so much fear. Like, no, I did it. I overcame it.
It is an accomplishment. I wish more people recognize that. It is hard. You have to stick with it. You have to do research. You have to be persistent. You have to risk a lot.
Yeah.
You have to be brave. There's so much to it. It really needs to be recognized for the difficult task it is.
Yeah. But that's actually one thing now is that I've been out at my current job for about 2 years. And I've worked at that job for about 5 years. So a part of me always has this in my head of like, wouldn't it be nice to just start a new job where people have only ever known me as Faith and they've never seen Guy me and my really crappily worn Guy work clothes. Because God, I hated Guy work clothes. Yeah, just that idea of like being able to start fresh where no one knows who you were. or how you presented before.
So that's part of the appeal of a new job.
Yeah.
Sure,
So I could see that like a new school. But also just like when I first started making a lot of friends that had never known Boy Me before, friends that only knew me as Faith, that was awesome. That also felt awesome. So I totally understand this idea of like a fresh new start.
Yeah.
It's very affirming.
And you just feel normal.
Yeah, it's incredibly affirming. But then, as Devin writes, are we kind of denying who we are?
Right. That you have a lot of pride over what you've gone through and what you've become, and that it's shaped you, that it's affected who you are today. It's a big part of it. It's a big part of yourself.
Yeah,
and another thing he mentions, this is interesting, the kids at school will probably find out my social media has trans written all over it. Obviously, I mean, you've probably thought of this. It goes without saying. You could lock down your social media. You could have separate accounts. Like, it's not entirely out of the realm of possibility.
Go back and delete all your trans stuff. I mean, I remember ages and ages ago, again, this is for MTF, but like people who were talking about how to like de-boyify your house. Like, I remember there was a video, Calpurnia Adams, who, had YouTube videos. Some people in the community take issue with her. I personally, I've never seen anything I really take issue with. But her and Andrea James had a kind of transition guide that they sold. It was like their business. And I used to read their website all the time. I never actually paid money for the products. Whoops. But I used to read their website. And they had like a video once that was like, we'll see if we can find it. That was like how to de-boyify your house.
Wow.
Because like how to think about like things that might give you away. Like obviously, old family pictures of you and things like that on the wall.
Your diplomas.
Your diplomas. Yeah, but and you of course like, accessories and stuff or whatever. So you can I still have a ton of DVDs and CDs. That's kind of something I always associate with kind of male behavior in our culture, but I like them.
Yeah.
So it's very like you could do that for your social media too.
Sure. And again, Devin, I'm sure you've thought about this. We're not telling you to do this. We're just saying that of your question of how to approach what to do next, especially if you're worried about negative consequences or something. Of course, obviously, that's an option. But it sounds to me like Devin doesn't want to do that. It sounds like he is kind of on the fence about this.
Yeah.
And what you've got here is a tricky situation where people might give you a hard time if they find out you're trans without you having told them. They might give you a hard time. They might not want to hang out with you. They might not like you. They might try to turn other people against you. What you have just done is isolated the jerks from the cool people. You have tested people, if you will, potential friends, potential groups. You have weeded out the homophobes, the insecure people, the assholes, and that's a pretty cool thing. That being said, in school, I get it. It's not the real world.
It's not. Also, just knowing who the assholes are doesn't make life any easier.
Right.
They can still be assholes.
They'll be assholes no matter what.
And when they're assholes sitting there finding out your info online and gossiping about it, that kind of robs you of some agency.
Yes.
So if Devin comes to this new school, hey, I'm Devin, I'm a dude, I'm awesome. And they're like, yeah, you're Devin. And then there comes some jerk who's like, Devin's not really Devin. Devin, here's Devin's past. Let's dig this up. That robs Devin of some agency.
Right.
That's denying who Devin is.
So then what we're talking about then is Devin going in and just dropping that into conversation. It's not the first thing I'm going to tell you about myself, but it's not like it didn't happen. So, I remember when I used to be a girl, or I remember when I had to get rid of all the dresses, or one of those drop it into conversation and don't be hiding it, but also don't be flaunting it.
Yeah. Well, this is something that also that coming out, and again, Devin, it's your decision. And it sounds like you understand the value of kind of both. But one of the most important things that I've found in sort of being very open about my transition is finding a community of like-minded individuals.
Oh.
And that's something that, honestly, Devin, you could probably still go to like LGBTQ meetups at school and things like that, you know, and have it not be weird, but, you know, you are kind of separating yourself from your community, and that's something you didn't quite bring up, but I think you kind of understand the implications of based on what you say.
Yeah.
So, like, I wouldn't want to do that. Like,
yeah.
Like, I only came out in my 30s, like, although I was very bad at being in the closet, but I only, like, officially came out in my 30s. But on the other hand, like, just being able to kind of say, like, I'm LGBTQ, it's, you know, I'm, like, working on an LGBTQ event at work now, and it's, like, just being able to be like, yeah, it's my community. I know, this is me, this is our people.
This is stuff I know about, these are contacts I have, this is something I enjoy working with and working on and being around.
Yeah, so just having that community and getting to be, like, open and honest about it, especially, you know, it's something I've hid for a long time. Devin, I don't know your circumstances. This may have been something that took you ages to come out. It may have been something that you've known about early on.
Sure.
I definitely found that community to be important, and I've found that identity to be important to me. So at this point, if I could be self, I probably wouldn't be.
Really?
Yeah, because I do find that. Also, I only get attention online for being trans. No one would care if I was just a slightly pretty girl, but, like, you know, trans girl.
Not always positive attention, but yeah, attention is
you know,
attention.
that's suddenly interesting. Otherwise, I'm just mundane. A very plain girl.
Yes. You're a pretty girl.
Well, thank you. So are you.
But I get it. I get what Devin's saying. And I mean, I feel like that Faith has made a point is, you know, live your life. You don't have to throw this in everyone's face unless you want to do that, but still be a part of the community. Still join the Gay Straight Alliance or whatever is at your school, or start it. But just be your cool self. Like, that's the most important thing, I think, is for people to get to know you and your interests and, you know, how you treat other kids and how you talk to the teachers and just whether you have a job. Like, you know, there's so much stuff about you that isn't this. And it's all important. It all matters. It's all part of who you are and part of what's shaped you. And I think just that you could be stealth, but are considering not being stealth, I think that's awesome. I think that's going to be really great for a lot of the people in your school who've never met a trans person before. They're going to meet you as this normal, cool guy who passes, shouldn't matter, but does, and happens to be trans and also happens to play ping pong really well. I don't know what your thing is.
Devin seems like a good ping pong
I bet
player.
He's crushing it at ping pong.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Totally. Devin.
I think you can find whatever middle road you like of just being stealth and this not being something that you have to answer questions about every single day, but also it's not being a secret. Like, there's no reason it should be a secret. It's not a bad thing.
I think that's the good middle ground. Yeah. Like, you can start your new school and literally not tell anyone about being trans. You don't have to. You can kind of, you know, but if you meet a cool friend, you can be like, oh yeah, I was, you know, assigned female at birth. I hated dresses, you know, etc. You can open up to who you choose to open up to. Ultimately, that's what it should be about. So there's no rush. That's the thing. You could actually start this. You could approach this new school on day one, because the first thing you do when you walk in doesn't have to be, hey everyone, I'm transgender. You don't have to wear the trans t-shirt. You don't have to.
That could be like day 2.
Listen to be blasting transgender music on your phone. There probably is some. I don't really know.
Sure.
But you don't have to do that. You can start stealth and then feel things out.
But like he's saying also, if someone sees it on his social media and then is like, oh, look what I learned. So for that reason, since there's no reason for you to edit or hide or change or double up on your social media, it might be smart to be the one who tells people this.
No, totally. But you don't have to just come out and announce it immediately.
Yeah.
It can be something that.
But you do want to get out ahead of the
people.
assholes.
Yeah.
So that's the tricky
You can
thing.
always lock down your social media. You can always put all your privacy settings up, and
Oh, I don't really do Facebook or whatever.
Whatever. I don't know. You're probably younger than me, Devin, if you're still in school.
Still in school, yeah.
So I don't quite understand the importance of social media.
Yes, you do.
No,
What are
I
you talking
do.
about?
I've been on social media since Friendster.
Yeah.
Okay? Since Friendster. That was like 2003, I guess.
It's meaningless to some of our listeners.
It is.
Yeah.
There was Friendster first, then MySpace, and then Facebook. And then everything. So... yeah, I was there, but I didn't grow up with it in high school.
Yes,
in
that's
high
true.
school, the most technologically advanced thing we had was my friend had a beeper. That was pretty exciting for back in the day.
Yeah, we had to bully each other in person. That was all.
Gosh,
It was really slow and ineffective.
it was inconvenient, but involved craftsmanship.
Indeed.
So I don't necessarily understand like. If social media is like super important, that it's like something, it's how you socialize with people. Maybe, you kids today. So maybe something we're locking it down may make you seem like an awkward, weird person and just draw more attention to you.
I don't know.
I'm not sure about
I'm sure there's
that.
some kids who just aren't into it or have a Facebook account but never do anything. I don't know. Everyone's different.
Everyone's different, but yeah, it's a tricky question.
Yeah.
But I think just kind of feeling it out the first day or two. Again, Devin, you don't mention kind of where you are in the country, or in the planet. You could be from
In a good place to be trans or a bad place to be
you
trans.
could be in a good place like San Francisco or a bad place like Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
I don't know. So Devon's not a very Saudi name, so probably not that big.
Probably
Could be
not.
Alabama or somewhere like that. So I don't really know.
We're going to trust your judgment on this,
Yeah.
Devin. Use your judgment. Assess, see how the scene is. See if there is a gay-straight alliance. See if there is anybody who's out and open and LGBT. Ultimately, the first thing, the only thing you really need to worry about is your safety.
Yeah.
If it is safe to come out, yes, by all means, do that to whatever extent you feel comfortable. But if it's not safe, consider locking down the social media.
Yeah. Based on your email, you say it's something, being trans is something that shaped me into the person I am now. I become so filled with pride for my identity that it feels weird to suddenly hide this part of myself. And I think that's the key part of your email. Even though you say, I love the idea of living my life as an ordinary cisgender boy. I think ultimately, probably, it sounds like this is something you've probably fantasized about the idea of like being just able to be you without that trans baggage. But it also sounds like, like we were talking about, you've succeeded. You came here, you got here.
Yeah.
From probably a very tough place.
Yeah.
You've dealt with all kinds of shit.
You've accomplished this.
You have accomplished this, and that's awesome. Ultimately, it doesn't sound like, your decision. But in that, when I read that line, that doesn't sound like someone who's going to be 100% always comfortable in the stealth mode.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have the stealth option. You can use the stealth option when you want. And I'd say,
Use it when you need to.
Yeah,
definitely.
Ultimately, it's your decision. So we're not telling you like one specific thing. We don't know all the details of your life.
Yeah.
But it sounds like something that you could start being stealth and then see how it goes. But ultimately, I wonder how fulfilling that would be.
Sure. And honestly, you're the only one who can tell us that.
Yeah.
Honestly, Devin, I would love to hear from you in 6 months, in a year. Let us know how it goes and what you decided. And I only told my close friends, or I only told a teacher I trust, or I told everyone, and I'm president of the Gay Straight Alliance. I would love to hear what your decision was. But ultimately, obviously. It's your decision, and it'll be based on your judgment and what makes you comfortable and safe and happy, and lets people know how awesome you are. Lets people know how hard you worked, how it shaped you, how it made you who you are.
Yeah, I think that's something that is real and meaningful, and very meaningful. Obviously, there's such appeal to stealth. There's such appeal. I mean, you could literally just, delete your social media and restart it.
Yep.
I did that when I came out. So you can do it. And that's actually something that you may consider too. It's just, you can be stealth when you want. Based on your email, I would wonder how long you would want to do that. But if you've got the option, start that way.
And you're lucky to have the option.
Yeah.
I mean, that's great. That is so fantastic. 7 months of tea, and you're there. That's
nice.
Really impressive.
That's good tea.
Yeah, yeah. So we have not answered your question at all, because it is up to you. We don't have the answer. But you're asking, how does one balance their wish to be stealth and their desire to embrace who they are, and the fears of people finding out and having negative reactions? Yeah, that's something I feel like the first thing is you go in and you get a read on the place.
Yeah.
You kind of do a litmus test. You get a sense of how the community is. Are there right-wing football player bullying assholes running the school? Or is everyone kind of loose and cool and they do their thing and we do our thing? And see how it feels. See how the culture feels. And go from there. I really hope you'll be able to be out and proud. But let us know what you decide.
Yeah. And I really hope, first and foremost, that you're safe.
Yeah.
And that you're happy.
Yeah.
And that's ultimately what matters. And, we don't have enough information to really tell you what to do.
Even if we had tons more information, we still wouldn't tell you what to do.
Yeah. But yeah, I hope that you navigate this well. It sounds like from your email, you got a good head on your shoulders.
Yeah, dude, your grammar is flawless, by the way. And that is pretty rare, even in my own emails.
For the internet, yeah.
And the internet. Spelling and grammar.
In 2018, yeah, you might be the last person with good grammar,
A+,
Devin.
Devin. Keep it up.
So
I know you'll figure it out.
We would love to hear from you in the future, to let us know how this goes. We hope you can follow up. And we would love to hear from any of our other listeners.
Yes.
Who've been through a similar situation. I ultimately, in my transition, I don't know if I could be stealth anyway, so that decision was very easy. But ultimately, I understood that for me, being honest and open, I shouldn't say being honest, because then that's being dishonest.
The opposite, right.
But that being open about who I was and what I'd been through in my journey, like, that's actually something that I found very beneficial in my life. And for other people, it may be different. Devin, it sounds like you are on the fence, but I bet you will figure out what is right for you.
Definitely. Definitely. And I hope you'll be able to be out to whatever extent you feel comfortable.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Devin. Thank you so much for sending in that excellent question.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And as we said, we would love to hear other people's stories in the same situation. I know every person's a little different, and I'd be curious to see, what people have experienced and what decisions they've made.
Especially, I'd be kind of curious to hear if you decided to not be stealth and you came out and you later regretted that decision. What was that about? Was it horrible people on the job or in your school or in your life, or was it some other reason? It'd be interesting to hear it from all the ends.
Yeah. And then there's one other thing I want to add real quick. And that is, stealth doesn't necessarily mean that you're always hiding your past. Stealth can mean that when you go get coffee in the morning, they don't question your presentation. When you go to a store, when you maybe work with certain people, it doesn't mean you always have to hide 100%. It just means that you have the ability to conceal. Again, I don't want this to sound duplicitous, but you have the ability to choose your presentation to the point where people may think you were assigned that way at birth. They might think you're cis, and you have the ability to use that as a tool when you choose.
Yeah. And certainly a good tool to have.
Yeah, it's a tool in your arsenal, and you don't have to use it all the time. It can be used when you want and for what reasons you want. But it doesn't mean hiding who you are 100% of the time.
Yeah. And I think you're right. It's not like lying or concealing. It's actually, in a lot of cases, a pretty smart decision. And kind of like what Devin's saying, a hell of an accomplishment.
Yeah, it is. And also, please don't misconstrue my words. By taking the exact meaning of what I said. As I'm thinking these words, as soon as I say them, I'm like, well, no, that's
Doesn't
wrong.
sound good at all.
So please, we don't write this out beforehand. So please.
Maybe we should.
So yeah. So please don't, take that I mean, that, you're being duplicitous or deceptive. It's just
a decision you might make for any number of reasons.
Yeah, that's where my brain goes when it's looking for thesaurus words. It's not always right.
It goes right to potentially offensive words?
Yeah, it always does. Name me a word, and I'll come up with a potentially offensive.
Elephant.
Okay, I'm gonna.
Okay, cool.
I was hoping for an adjective.
Oh, you want an adjective? Juicy.
It's already negative. I hate that word. That's the worst word. Ew. It's disgusting.
I think you're not very good at this
I'm
game.
not good at it.
Well, thanks for listening, everybody.
Okay, thank you, everyone.
And thanks, Devin.
Thank you, Devin.
Talk to you all next time.
All right, everyone.
Bye.
If you've enjoyed this episode and want to help us keep making more great content, go to patreon.com/genderrebels.
We have many different levels of support and lots of great rewards,
including drinks with the Gender Rebels at Stonewall.
Please leave a 5-star review on iTunes. That makes it easier for other people to find us.
And send your questions to questions@genderrebels.com. Or find us on Twitter @The Gender Rebels.
Music for The Gender Rebels is by Jasper the Colossal. Follow the link down below or download them on iTunes today.
And for all our episodes, visit genderrebels.com.
The Gender Rebels is a Comeback Sync production, copyright 2018. All rights reserved.
And to all you gender rebels out there, keep rebelling.
Bye.
Bye.